You know, guys, this company is extremely funny. We go from having the WWE Women's Division on SmackDown performing karaoke type shit, and now all of a sudden, good old Bruce has decided to give us actual wrestling and make women matter all of a sudden on this program here tonight. We actually get two people that we haven't seen in a long while, especially one by the name of Bianca Belair. By the way, Bruce, where's Ali? Where has he appeared? He hasn't shown up at all. He is never on television, and Bianca Belair, out of fucking nowhere, has finally showed up. Thank God for something decent on this show tonight. Shayna Baszler showed up. She attacked a bunch of fucking ninjas, Akua Tozawa, and almost tore R-Truth's head off. Not that I really care for her to be part of that kind of segment, but she showed up. Hopefully, they do something with her. God knows who the fuck knows if that's going to happen. So anyway, guys, welcome to the channel. I know I missed quite a few videos to review on the AEW Dynamite episode for Fyter Fest Night 2. I missed SmackDown. I watched SmackDown, but after hearing JD's first 2 seconds in, JD from New York 206 nailed the living shit out of SmackDown last week. For July, I believe it was July 10th. Yeah, July 10th's episode. And within the 2 seconds of hearing that, I was like, I gotta stop this and check this shit out. I checked it out the next morning, and I was just laughing hysterically at how fucking ridiculous we saw the women's division and what they have become. They turned these 4 women into karaoke singing for the stars. And they might as well have been on a reality TV show. I don't know if I'm watching wrestling or reality TV anymore, but tonight they made up for where they fucked up on SmackDown. And I would believe that had a lot to do with the fans making commentary about that karaoke segment on Friday Night SmackDown. And kudos to WWE for listening. It's about fucking time. Not that that really matters, because Bianca Belair is in a meaningless matchup here tonight with Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, the moronics, as JD would put them. And she's with Ruby Riott, who's been on a horrible losing streak of late and deserves a lot better than what she's been given. Now, granted, you know, Bianca Belair and Ruby Riott would make a very pleasant tag team. Not that they have anything in common, but they worked very well together. They could build off that and make them legit tag team champions and be the ones to take the tag team titles from Sasha Banks and Bayley down the road, maybe in a month and a half or so. I'd say about early fall, somewhere around late September, early October. I'd be okay with that. But at the end of the day, guys, Raw sucked. Raw wasn't exactly what you call a super great show. We still don't know what Dolph Ziggler's stipulation is. Not that it really matters, because he's going to lose at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter what fucking stipulation he's going to pick. Nor do I care. So it don't make a difference to me. Dolph Ziggler comes on the show at MVP's bullshit. We get Drew McIntyre coming out, and they basically sitting there between MVP and Dolph Ziggler having this horrible, despicable, disgusting dialogue. I don't know who fucking writes this shit. I could write a better script than this. Why I'm not doing anything in the wrestling business as a storyline writer or doing anything creatively in professional wrestling. I don't know why. Maybe because I care more about keeping a roof over my head than going ahead and trying to take high risk for higher reward type of thing. I guess that's maybe my main fear, is failing and not achieving my goal and then being stuck with nothing. And that's kind of a loser mentality. I understand that, but I mean, when you make a mistake like that, it's not easy to come back from, especially financially. So I'm trying to be very careful on that, but I am particularly looking into getting involved into a wrestling school, maybe even getting involved creatively in professional wrestling somewhere down the line. I'm just going to take advantage of this year of this COVID-19 and take advantage of the gym as much as I possibly can and work out and get myself into shape so that I could prepare for being in a wrestling school. Granted, I am going to be 33 next year when I try to attempt this, so it's going to be a little bit difficult. But I really don't give a shit. I'm young. To me, I feel young. And as long as I'm breathing in and out and I have the passion for this is what I want to do for a living. I don't think it's going to be actual physical work in the ring, but I think it's a very good thing to learn if I'm going to get involved in the wrestling business to begin with. So, yeah, Dolph Ziggler, he blabbles on with MVP about how he doesn't feel appreciated by Drew McIntyre, who was actually doing pretty decent, in my opinion, in NXT. Why he came up so soon with Dolph Ziggler, I have no idea. Not that it really matters at this point now that Drew McIntyre is WWE Champion, but they're making it like Dolph Ziggler revived his career. I highly doubt that. The things that he did in Impact Wrestling, in other independent wrestling companies, really helped him out in building his brand and building his name, if anything. So Dolph Ziggler, you have nothing to say on the part of Drew McIntyre's success in becoming the WWE Champion for the first time in his career. The dialogue is absolutely horrible, as I just mentioned. Drew McIntyre comes out. He sounded pretty good. He delivered a very solid promo and gave his thoughts on Dolph Ziggler and what he thinks of him. He pretty much said he just uses everybody. He used Big E when in 2012 as a bodyguard. He used Mandy Rose to get to Otis, and he used Drew McIntyre when they were in a tag team to do all of his dirty work to beat up all the guys that they needed to get beaten up on and whatnot. So that was pretty much the whole basis of that segment, and then he punched him in the mouth. He was looking for a fight with him, but he was okay with just punching him in the mouth and leaving it at that, and then he walked out. Eventually, at the end of the show, almost near the end of the show, Dolph Ziggler attacked Drew McIntyre with an interview that he had backstage about his upcoming match for the WWE title, Extreme Rules. And he was attacked by Dolph Ziggler. That kind of ended up being a brawl. It ended with Dolph Ziggler's back smacking up against this ring backstage in the Performance Center. It looked pretty bad bump. I could hear the loud thud that his back made with the ring. So I hope he's okay for this matchup. Not that it really matters. I think it'd save us all the trouble of not watching this match anyway, because we all know what is going to happen. I'm pretty certain this will be the main event of Extreme Rules. We had Angel Garza and fucking Andrade tag team again. These guys continuously displaying that they are having issues, yet they keep staying together. I don't understand. This is by far the weirdest tag team I've ever seen in my life. Them winning tag team gold would be fucking retarded. And mentioning tag team gold, I really think since they're changing up the WWE Intercontinental Championship and the United States title, why don't they change the way those damn tag team titles look both on Raw and SmackDown? Because they look fucking ridiculous, and they're not made of gold. So, yeah. I think that should be something brought up to good old Bruce and the WWE internally, because I think this company is fucking retarded. Speaking of the guy who's watching their shit. But I went ahead and I saved myself the trouble. I waited until like 9 o'clock to start watching the show, and I managed to skip through commercials and through anything else that I didn't care to watch, such as Bobby Lashley and Ricochet for the 5 millionth time. Bobby Lashley won that match easily with no problem. Not that I'm not even surprised by that. So, I don't even need to talk about that at this point. Bottom line, Angel Garza and Andrade, they're teaming together against the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, and nothing to be said here. Angel Garza and Andrade win this matchup. It's a tag team elimination matchup, and Andrade helped Angel Garza get the win at the end. Against, I believe it's Eric, the long-bearded and long-haired guy. I think that is his name, and Ivar is the guy who's bald with the beard. If I'm incorrect, I do apologize, but you guys know the description I'm talking about. If I'm mixing up the names, again, I'm sorry. But bottom line, this match was okay, but really, Angel Garza and Andrade winning this matchup, and yet they are struggling to make it as a tag team, beating an established tag team that claims, quote-unquote, that they are the most dominant tag team throughout the entire year last year. In a year, they've been a dominant tag team, they claim. Yeah, in your bra. Anyway, just making a reference off of Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. Thought that was kind of a nice little throw in there. But bottom line, guys, I don't particularly think that was a great idea. It damages the Viking Raiders at the end of the day, if you really think about it, and the tag team division, because these guys really are not a tag team. They are inevitable to break up, to have a feud, and beat the living shit out of each other, and have a main card match on a pay-per-view. That's what this looks like it could be. Giving them the tag team titles at this point with such a low amount of tag teams would be drastic. Would be a very, very bad move on WWE's part. But hey, WWE's known for doing those wonderful bad moves because they always do them every single chance they get. Let's see here. What else did we have on this crap bag show? Randy Orton performed against R-Truth in a very quick finish with an RKO. I mentioned about Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, and all that stuff. So yeah, Randy Orton, he had an RKO waiting for R-Truth in less than a few seconds. Looked like he was about to punt kick R-Truth in the head, ultimately to just bring out the Big Show and sanction, well, it's not an unsanctioned match is what I should say, was agreed upon Big Show and Randy Orton. And he was faking the punt kick to get Big Show to come out because he knew he would get him to come out by doing that to protect someone else's well-being. Wow, what a load of shit. Seth Rollins performed tonight against Kevin Owens. But before we even had that match, we had another match. Another fucking match. Before the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match, we had another matchup that has been done 5 million times over again. That's Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. This matchup ended in a no DQ. Well, and no, it ended in a DQ. Excuse me. So then that led to the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match. Seth Rollins also blabbed about his matchup with Rey Mysterio with the eye for an eye match before he even had this matchup coming up, which I thought was absolutely terrible. Him standing there going, an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye. And he kept saying this over and over and over. I was like, get to the fucking point of the promo, would you? I mean, it's getting a little repetitive hearing you say an eye for an eye. We get it. It's an eye for an eye match. You gotta gouge your fucking opponent's eye out of his head. So what's so freaking hard about this? To understand. It's a very easy concept. Well, he went ahead and he explained that he's surprised by the choice of the match because he thought it was just a metaphor, not literal. Well, sorry to break it to you, kid, but you're in an eye for an eye match, which, quite frankly, is the most bizarre and stupid match I've ever heard of in my life, number one. Number two, this should be very fucking weird how they're going to do this. From what I heard, they're going to do CGI type stuff to make this work. Now, when they go through with it, how are they going to make it work afterwards? I mean, I can understand them making it work at the here and now, but what about the future? The next night, Monday Night Raw? How are they going to go ahead and go about the eye being missing? Are they going to... The only thing I can see here that would work and make any sense is Seth Rollins gets his eye gouged out of his head, and they put a lens in his eye that was gouged out and make it look like a prosthetic eyeball or like a robotic eye inside his skull. That's the only way I could really make this make sense at all. Making Rey Mysterio do this would be kind of stupid because if he leaves WWE, goes to AEW, he is going to make that storyline mean nothing. Not that WWE would probably care, but again, you would want to make sense of it. So, whatever. But Seth Rollins' gimmick is just old and boring and retarded. And Kevin Owens came out and he said something that was so funny as hell. He came out and he said, it would be great if you lost your eye because then I can hand you this eye patch. And he goes, what do you think I am, a pirate? And he goes, yeah, I know someone that's in Canada. And he said the guy's name and I forgot it. But he hands him that and they're doing this gimmick joke off of like he's going to become a pirate if he loses an eye. Oh, God. I mean, it's a funny idea, but to throw that in there, like, what is he going to be, a fucking gosh darn pirate for a new gimmick? That would be ridiculous and very retarded. So, whatever. But yeah, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens had their match after Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black's match ended up being a DQ. Seth Rollins didn't have Buddy Murphy at all during this point in time of this matchup. We see him trying to avoid the match altogether. Kevin Owens kept following him all around the Performance Center, bringing him back in the ring, ultimately beating him. But one thing that I will mention, Kevin Owens' eye was slightly being, like, Seth Rollins was attempting to gouge his eye out of his head, which I thought was fucking weird, but it kind of made sense towards the fact this is a go-home show, and, I mean, it's a symbolism of their matchup, so, I mean, yeah, I guess that would make sense. But what made no sense to me is Seth Rollins lost the match even though he gouged on his opponent's eye and partially blinded him. That makes no sense to me. Seth Rollins was distracted by Rey Mysterio, Dominic, Aleister Black. Those three people were by ringside during this match. And and he manages to lose with a stunner by Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens picks up the victory. What a fucking joke that one was. I mean, guys, like, honestly, I could get through this show watching it by, like, skipping through commercials and skipping through garbage I'm not really interested in. I can deal with that. But when you literally watch this stuff live, it really is annoying to watch. I like the fact that I have DVR capabilities and I can skip through all the commercials and all the boring stuff of this show. And even some of the off-the-wall stuff is slightly entertaining because I can laugh at the stupidity of this company. Because what they are doing is absolutely ridiculous. You got fucking Ricochet backstage, I forgot to mention, and Cedric Alexander doing a karate segment with Akira Tozawa and R-Truth. What a fucking... That's like cringe. Super cringy. I mean, like, some of the stuff they do on here is just mind-boggling. What the fuck they're doing with all this talent. You got all this talent. Use it. You can't use it every week. That's fine. Just use them in a good matchup at least. Build them up in some matches here and there once a week. Or every couple of weeks or something. But at least put them on the show and let them show their skills to the audience. But to have them put them in these whacked out segments is just a waste of their time and talent. It's just so stupid. You got a lot of talent, you can't always put them on the show. That's understandable. You got a big roster. But with that big roster, put them on once every 2 weeks or something. Give them a good matchup to display in front of the audience. You ain't got any creative juices going? Use some of these guys that you're not using for like a 30-minute matchup that people would get highly entertained by. I mean, what the fuck is this company really doing outside of wasting everybody's time and their own? Just continuously blabbering about this and ranting is not going to get me anywhere with this company because it's like... I mean, I'm thankful of one thing. We got a very good main event tag team matchup for the women's tag team titles. I thought that was a solid, okay matchup overall. So yeah, the tag team titles was retained by Sasha Banks and Bayley. They did make you think that Asuka and Kairi Sane were going to win the tag team titles eventually, but fortunately enough, thankfully, that was not the case. So thank God for that situation. But very good matchup overall. That was probably the best match on the entire card, to be honest with you. And to mention Shayna Baszler, she was utilized good, I would assume, based on her promo, but her being part of that Akira Tozawa and R-Truth segment in the ring was just... I don't understand why. Like, what? Is she going to start wrestling men? If she is, that's great. I mean, Impact Wrestling was doing that with Tessa Blanchard. You could use that with Shayna Baszler. I think they could get away with that. But that depends on how WWE feels about having men and women competing in the same ring at the same time against each other. So, that's pretty much this whole show in a nutshell. I mean, outside of the main event with the women's tag team title match, the rest of the show is hit or miss. It wasn't that big of a deal. If you missed it, big deal. If you did, great. If you were entertained by it, fantastic. I don't know what the fuck, how low your standards are, but I guess it's pretty fucking low. But anyway, guys, if you liked the video, hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. As usual, I'll always get back to you on that, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.